Hello! Welcome to Let's Remember Skies of Arcadia. We are going to go through Moonstone Mountain, which will take up all of this segment. It is a very big dungeon, and we won't even be completely done with Ixa'Taka after all of that. Off screen, I have gotten some equipment. I have upgraded Cupel. I will leave it a surprise as to the form that Cupel will take. You will see it in battle in a little bit. So, Moonstone Mountain is where we get into what I was talking about, or have been talking about, when it's the notion of subjugation of native peoples. So, granted, it's very simplistic imagery, but it's slave labor, right? And so, really, we shouldn't sit back and chaff at how lightly, the image comes across, because regardless of anything else, the game does do a fairly decent job, I think, of giving us a world where there are social and political problems. The game doesn't dwell on them, right? I think I've said in the past that the game doesn't concern itself with how these things have come to exist. It's concerned that they exist at all. So this whole situation is just another example of that. We have two of our most buffoonish villains right in front of us, Alfonso and then De Loco. Alfonso being reassigned here after his lying about what happened at the beginning of the game, and De Loco just here mining moonstones for whatever scientific projects he wants to do, also forcing Centime to work alongside him. And as I've said before, De Loco mostly being a character who sort of is childish, right? He creates things, he has excessive pride in the things he creates, even though those things are destructive, and then if they are damaged, he treats it as a personal slight. So we are going to go through this area because we need to rescue Ixa'Taka so we can find the location of Rixis, and we're also going to rescue Centime in the process. We're locked in, dun dun dun. And so this dungeon is going to be an interesting one to talk about, because if you mess up, there are ways that you fall back to, like, the start of the dungeon. I don't think I can open this door, right? Yeah, I don't think so. There's also two chams here that I really want to get. I vaguely know the locations again. It won't be something where I need to really vet them too much, but it's like, I know that there's one there, right? And this might give away the reveal about Cupel anyway, because I want to check now that I've done more chams and an Aberic cham. Let's just reveal Cupel's form. Cupel is a sword. Went from a Cupicone to a Cupel sword. Cute little bugger, but dangerous as can be. And so the next cham is in a room with a bunch of traps. I remember that. And so, Moonstone Mountain, we've been talking about dungeons as we've gone through them as spaces that are fairly enjoyable. Moonstone Mountain isn't unenjoyable, if that makes sense. It's just different. I keep on forgetting that we can... No, can we? Hold on. I keep on thinking we can start with Lambda Burst. So actually, we'll just fight normal for a minute. You can see I've given Ica a new boomerang, finally. And we can just... We'll attack normally so we can show off some of the weapons. The thing is that Moonstone Mountain is... like, if frustration was personified and put into a dungeon, look at that, counterattack, taking out that looper. Feeling good about that Cupel sword. This is another counterattack taking out a looper. That's awesome. This is a frustrating dungeon. It's fairly interesting as a space to move through. There's a lot of kind of moving cogs, right? So there's mine carts and all sorts of things. But in terms of being a space that I care about moving through, I don't care about moving through it as much, even as the Temple of Pyron. I care about what this space implies. I care about the notion of what Moonstone Mountain represents. Like, I care about the fact that this is a place where slavery is happening and stuff. I care about the space in that sense. I don't come to care about the space or find it interesting in a navigational sense. And Fina, with Cupel Sword, really able to contribute to the party again.
We did it!
And Aika with an upgraded weapon, just so much better. Our output's so much nicer. We have Spirit Charge for the times we need it. We're leveling up at a fairly nice pace, so I'm feeling good. But this is an entire area, like, there's so many different places we can go. And it's never, like, no space is particularly clear. This is where we fall and return to if we mess up. And walk over the wrong panels, we fall down and we take a minecart and it takes us back to the start of the dungeon. There's ways to subvert this, and I'm going to show at least one of those ways. That's a sure thing. And also, holy crap, let's fight that. Serpentis. It's a frustrating space to be in. But there is some method behind the madness that is Moonstone Mountain. And once again, it will give us a chance to sort of... I mean, we're not challenging ourselves as much as I think we were in the Temple of Pyron, but this is still a space where ascending and descending and challenging some creatures and really trying to rise to the occasion the same way that the heroes are still trying to do that. Skies of Arcadia is fairly good about having these scenarios sort of be equal to the player's challenge and the challenge that the characters are facing. That sentence was like totally butchered, but my point still sort of stands. We talked about it in the Temple of Pyron. It's not any different here, although I think it's more pronounced in the Temple of Pyron. That was a really strange use of Sacres. Then again, I think green loopers can't use anything other than green magic. I don't think that loopers can use anything other than the magic that they are attuned to, so that's the only thing it's able to do. But you can see there's a tough enemy here that we have to deal with. And we use Cutlass Fury and we'll show it off for the heck of it. But at the same time, it's like, you know, there's something about Moonstone Mountain that doesn't quite feel the same as some of the other spaces that we've been in. Story-wise, the implications are much more interesting. The stakes are...
That was easy.
Fairly high. The highest that they've ever been in terms of story stakes has been when we were fighting in the Colosseum. This sort of mirrors that to an extent. But this is also just a strange space, and we can talk to this fellow here, who should give us a hint. There's a trapdoor all over the place. Remember, a circle doesn't always mean it's the right way. If you can see below, look out. If there's a mining cart, it'll come back here. So that's a really good hint. So if there are mine carts, we can look down beneath the floor and see if they're there, and we can use that as a way to navigate the space. I'm surprised that the game outright tells you that. But, you know, whatever. I appreciate them doing so. It's sort of an anti-frustration factor, right? So circles are not necessarily correct, so we go over the X instead. So Moonstone Mountain is supposed to be an interesting space that has puzzles and things, but really it's just like follow the right path or else we fuck you over and send you back to the start, which I don't know who on the team designing suggested it and who the other people were that were like, you're hired, because it's a really strange sort of notion. And we want to just sort of attack our way. Let's attack the small guys first. And we'll use a special move in the next round. So we'll attack some of the smaller guys. These sort of slime balls. It's sort of strange that you have these enemies in this space, because enemies tell you a lot about spaces that you're in. And you would figure, and I believe you still do encounter them, you would figure that this space would be populated primarily by, say, Valuan soldiers or something like that. So there are moments in Skies of Arcadia, excuse me, I'm talking too fast and slurring my words together like a fool. There are times where Skies of Arcadia contextualizes its space with its enemies in a way that doesn't seem to make sense. This manifests itself a lot in random enemies, like random boss enemies. So, not quite like the worm that we fought in the Temple of Pyron. That had maybe some sort of context to it, vaguely, but in other areas we'll find similar monsters that don't have as much context to them. And, you know, we can attribute it to like, oh, maybe they're guarding the moon crystals, this, and this, but we're actually going to encounter a boss in another dungeon that makes sense design-wise for the continent we're on, certainly, but sort of seems like a monster from nowhere. And so Skies of Arcadia, for all of its strengths in building space, sort of falters on those levels. Fina is going to use... We're just going to use up some of these Sacri Crystals as much as we can. I've gotten everybody, you know, best armor that I can manage and things like that, so I'm feeling pretty good about that. So this... I hope I'm correct. It's tricky because I know in one of the rooms with puzzles there is a cham, which is a problem, but I think it's a room... There are certain symbols, like, so one of the rooms has triangles instead. I think it's in that room. Yeah, so like these. So we can see below which ones have minecarts, so that's how we know what to avoid. So if these are triangles, then we just look down and find out which one doesn't have bullshit below it, which should be this one. And then I think there is a cham here, yes. So we will feed that to our little buddy, our favorite little buddy. And who knows, with all of these chams and everything, we might upgrade a little sooner than I thought. We're probably still Cupel Sword. Yeah, but we're working our way towards bigger and better things. So we'll head this way. I don't really know the layout of Moonstone Mountain. And in terms of items, now that I've taken care of that, the only thing I really give a shit about is I know there's a moonberry later on. And I found a moonberry on my way here, so I'll give that to Vise, which will unlock Rain of Swords, which is a skill of his you pretty much never use, but it just brings me further down the path of having his final ability. We're running away here. I don't want to fight two of those things. And that's literally me just going, I don't want to. Even though I'm sure the experience would be nice. Not the experience itself, but the experience points. Yeah, so lots of spaces we can go into. Curia Crystal, that's pretty good. I don't know if I have some. I would like to have some Ryzen crystals. They only have a 50% chance of working. Reviving people in this game is a tricky prospect. But being able to do it at all is nice. Fina can do it, but I'm so focused on leveling up her green magic before I worry about leveling up her silver. Although we will get her silver magic up to sort of standards soon enough. What is below us? Nothing? Let's go. Cool. And we can also see that the cave space that we fight in is replaced with like I said, every time it happens, I'm glad that it does. Just space that is abstracted space resembling the area that we were in. See, these are enemies that I would expect to find in a mine, like mining robots or something. That's not to say that fighting giant serpent sort of praying mantis creatures isn't cool. It's certainly cool, but you know, maybe we can do something a little better than that. And in this case, I think we should be okay. Aika's abilities are just fantastic. Alpha Storm helps so much at the beginning of the game. Lambda Burst is great. Critical hit. Way to go, Cupel. You're the best.
That was easy.
And like I've always pointed out, having Cupel at the proper stage allows Fina to contribute in battles beyond just a supplementary support role. Another Moonberry. So I have 2 Moonberries right now, which means I'm just going to give it to Vise right away. The one after this is not great either for a skill. You don't tend to use it a lot, but it's still sort of useful. I want to get to his last skill pretty quick, because that way we can do a lot of damage in battles easily, even though right away now in fights I can start off using... what is going on down here? I feel like I've been bamboozled. We can use Cutlass Fury at the start of any of our fights, so it's sort of a moot point. At the start of any round, if I really want to do high damage, I can always use Cutlass Fury. But his final, you know, quote-unquote final attack is still very powerful and still very useful. So this is nuts. I hate this space. I can't tell if I am meant to fall down here or not. Moonstone Mountain is a complicated space. Let me just look around. I'm going to try going through this tunnel. Is there anything below me? That's bullshit. No. Okay. That's where I came from. See, this is why I don't like Moonstone Mountain, because you wander around and it's another thing where there are all these multiple layers of height and interesting things that are going on, but it's also just like... This is one of the few times where navigation feels sort of like bullshit. And we have some actual value in soldiers, which is great. Just in terms of contextualizing the space a little more. Counterattack. He's done. Very good. I feel like sometimes I harp on the same points, but it is important to note that Skies of Arcadia generally does a job. Well, it does a strong job, actually, of giving its space a lot of character and putting a lot of thought to how the player interacts and encounters the space. Moon Mountain, in my mind, just is probably the one time where things are a little obfuscated. Even later on in the game, in certain dungeons, I don't feel like things are as obfuscated as they are right now. When you're just like... Usually you're able to walk around a space with a lot of confidence. I don't feel confident in this space at all. So, in my mind, I'm fairly certain then that I have to fall. Because this will bring me to a different level. If this brings me to a minecart, I'll be angry. Okay, cool. So we're here. And I think we want to drop down here. Because the rest are minecarts. Yes, cool. So, like, that's fun navigation of the space, but it comes with all of this other attached bullshit. Which I don't care for. Oh my gosh! This is Centime. He's cool. Centime's really nice. Are you Ixa'Taka? Come on, Vise. Centime. Then you're Hans's father. I do like the characters in these games. You don't spend as much time with Centime, but you know, a mindful creator and sort of a guy who takes in orphans and things like that. It's like, remember, he's still a pirate. And you're like, oh, like, these pirates are cool. Even though we have black pirates who are totally, you know, you have the black pirates, then you have the blue rogues. You know, so you have someone like Baltor. Hey, Ika's really happy. But then you also, on the blue rogue side, you have people like Centime. But then you also have people like Dine and a couple other characters who are just as ruthless. So it's like, it's this really great mix of people in our rogue catalog, as it were. And I do like the little bit of foil that Centime presents compared to De Loco. So we're up here. Moonberry in chest in here? Question mark? Zal seed. What does that one do? See, I don't remember everything. Vigor. Yep. A lot of these just go to Vise by default, unfortunately. Although certain ones that are for spellcasting or dodging or things like that, like ones that will increase dodge, I'll generally give to Ica, and ones that increase like willpower, I'll give to Fina, etc., etc. I think it's fitting, by the way, and this isn't anything intentional on the game's part. I think it's fitting that one of the traits that is most important for Fina is will, and she is such a strong-willed character. I like when things generally sort of call back to character traits like that. And that can happen. I mean, I'm not a big D&D person, but, you know, somebody with a high int score, you know, it can generally reflect on their character, and it will generally, reflect on their character as somebody who is intelligent and insightful and things like that. So stats have meaning, but it's nice to see that they have meaning in Skies of Arcadia as well.
Moons, give me strength.
Not bad. Let's see if we hit the looper. Oh, wow. Wasn't expecting that.
Serves up right.
Alright, we're leveling up our magics. We're doing okay. Man, I wish I knew where the random encounters were. No, I wish I knew where the other Moonberry was. I remember it involves lifts of some kind, elevators. And I get one at the end of the dungeon by defeating the boss. So if I can leave here with 2 Moonberries, I'll be very happy. Trying to get as much amazing content out there as possible. Is there a... I can't see below. I'm gonna try it. Oh, this sort of just drops me... Oh, so I need to... That's the Moonberry. Not entirely sure how I get to it. I have to drop down again then. Son of a bitch. So we dropped here, right? Let's hope! Yes, cool. And we dropped in the middle. That brought us to where Centime was. So you can see even a little misstep here sort of causes you to loop back on yourself, which sort of is a pain in the ass. Hopefully I'll find a way to get to the other Moonberry. I want it, I want it. You can get them through random drops, but, you know, I don't exactly like being at the mercy of the RNG gods. Random encounters showing up everywhere to spoil your playthrough. If it's like soldiers, we'll fight. Let's try and run.
Retreat!
Okay. Well, we're gonna fight now. This section of the game, I've found enemies are very hard to run away from. Not that I'm making it a habit of running away from these enemies, but I am finding them difficult to escape from, which is sort of a pain in my butt. Because I can get through the level right now, well, excuse me, the dungeon, at the level I'm at. I can certainly do so. But, you know, that means I'm comfortable not necessarily being in the space for too long. This is Reign of Swords, if I haven't managed to show it off. Maybe I showed it off during the Valua section when my characters were all different. But Reign of Swords is going to hit everybody like a Mack truck, hopefully. But see, the tight corridors are kind of bullshit here too, because they keep on using Electres, which attacks on a straight line. Reign of Swords! Come on. Oh, he's confused. A confused Drachma sucks. He'll hit you hard.
Rain of Swords!
Yeah!
Not bad. Feeling good. Keeping it casual on this playthrough. Dungeon playthroughs are pretty chill. I know down here there's a weapon for Drachma, I think? Or I hope so. Have I gone into this space? I don't think I have. So that's a cannon that we already have for our ship. I'm fairly certain there's a weapon down here as well. Treasure chest. Nope. What the? Is that somehow Centine's room again? Because that would be strange. It looks like on the map that I've been here already, but no. Okay, so this, yeah, so De Loco drill, cool. Item for Drachma. I do remember some stuff. And if you think this is like, oh, she has a walkthrough, I do for Chams. Absolutely do for Chams. For the rest of this stuff, generally going off of vague memory. You play through an RPG 10 times or so, you start to remember where items are. Discoveries, different story. Especially since one of the discoveries that is in the area of Ixa'Taka, I'm having trouble speaking, moves. So if I really wanted to find it, I would just plant myself in a spot and wait for it to come to me. But that's stupid. I am not going to do that. I'm not going to sit and make you watch me wait for a discovery to come to me. Do I want the experience? Yes, I do. For some reason, I'm just going to focus. Look at that drill on his hand. Drachma's so crazy. Because I have no problem with them attacking us. So I'm going to fill up our meter. I'm going to overdo it. I'm going to do like... hell, I don't know. Reign of Swords plus Lambda Burst if I can, and just go to town on these enemies. Focusing becomes increasingly important because you will eventually gain access to attacks that rely on having all of your meter full, but that's not until later on in the game. We'll skip some of these animations so we can get through here quick. These are slow enemies, so I'm surprised I managed to pull all this off, but it was a surprise round, so sure, I wasted a round focusing, but then I was able to just rock them right there, which is pretty cool. When you have the right tools at your disposal, I mean, combat in this game just feels really great. Fina's gonna hit her next green magic spell by the end of this dungeon, which is nice. Is nice. So I need to figure out what's going on here. So that is so definitely 100% the Moonberry, which means if I drop here, do I drop? Oh my gosh. Or is there another cross area that I can drop down? Because I think the idea is that I drop or I take a lift or something. So actually, let's just ascend upwards or get attacked by random monsters. It's okay. Every encounter is just an opportunity to be super cool. And we'll probably heal after this too. But this also, if this gets Fina closer to her next spell, which I hope is not another variation on Noxie, which is just poison spell. I hope she gets Sacrum, which is heal everybody spell, which would be great because once she hits Sacrum, I'll be comfortable switching her over to Silver for a while until she can get like Riselem or something, right? Which would be another great skill for her to have. Because then she can revive our characters if they are knocked out. And in the process, some of the other characters will learn Silver Magic, and it will be helpful. But I continue to stress that I enjoy this space far more in terms of what it represents and the things that it makes me contemplate than how I am going through the space. Cupel Sword! Adorable, but deadly. Wow, they're getting off all of their attacks and stuff, and I'm barely taking them out. Like, I'm using Rain of Swords just because my spirit meter is hitting it so quickly, but I mean, if I had Rain of Swords early in the game, like, there's no point to it because you don't build up spirit quick enough. As you progress through the game, you're able to open up your options more and more as your spirit meter gives you more flexibility. So 1 point left in green magic for Fina. Fantastic. For now, though, we will heal again. Super exciting. Healing. Action. Excitement. You'll notice that I have a wealth of magic droplets for the time where I know I'm going to have to use Fina to heal outside of battle. I want the Moonberry. I really want it. Hopefully this brings us closer to it. I don't know. Have I been here? It's so hard to tell where you have and have not been in this level. No, I haven't. But it's showing up on the map like I have. Ugh. Watch me be right back at the beginning of the entire dungeon. Nope, doing okay. Ugh, De Loco. Ridiculous. I just really don't know. I want it sounds so funny. I like this story thing. I like this. Alphonsus, like, I think Vise has shown up. De Loco goes, what gave it away? Was it the alarm? Maybe it was the sirens. I think they play off each other in a funny way. Which is good considering that they are, for all their viciousness, sort of foolish characters. Son of a bitch, I want that Moonberry. This is annoying. It sounds so funny, but I'm like, man, I really want that thing. If I need to, I'll get it off camera. But I hope that's not the case. We get to fight some bad guys. always a good time. We'll just straight up attack them. Whoa! We've had that happen once or twice now. Happened during the last episode as well. Camera zooming in and some textures getting caught somehow. Or at least that's how I'll explain it in my head. That is certainly not what's happening. It's not like the textures are curtains that the camera's getting snagged on, necessarily. Drachma hitting really hard now. Counterattack, he's done. Makes tackle seem all the more cool, too. The hook hand was nice, but imagine getting freaking tackled by a dude with a drill for an arm. You kidding me? No, thank you. Will this get him? Oh, not quite. So close. This will get him, though. Round 2 of the Cupel Sword. Fantastic.
Serves 'em right.
Love it. This is actually a smoother navigation through this dungeon than I thought it would be. Oh, tell me it's Sacrum. Yes! That's awesome. I'm gonna open up all the doors and grab all of the things. Glyph of Might. Very nice. I've missed out on the Moonberry. I know I have. Glyph of Speed. I know which one was being guarded, so I will not go to that one. I will go to this one. Healing Salve. Now we will go to here, which should be Ixa'Taka. One of the few truly dark-skinned characters of the game. Which is where I've also spoken up and said, like, I don't think the portrayal here is necessarily terrible, like, but we don't really have that many dark-skinned characters in the game. He's awesome, though. Sort of jovial despite his situation. And he sort of knows more about what's going on. He's like, you're a Sylvite. Instinct, my dear. Instinct. And Ika's like, we don't need to bring him back conscious. So this is okay.
Oh, so you've rescued Ixa'Taka. Very nice.
His ridiculous voice. A giant room of spikes awaits us. Which, oh my gosh. I want the Moonberry. Want the motherfucking Moonberry. Oh, I can't go back. I'm getting it off camera. It sounds so funny. It's so strange that we should worry so much about such a little thing, unless I can get it here by going up somehow. If I've been bitching and moping about a Moonberry that I'm gonna get now going up this lift somehow, dear gosh, will I be ever so happy. But it doesn't seem like that. So what we will do is, for insurance's sake, we will save. So this will be the end of this segment here, so... Alright, time for our boss fight. This boss will seem familiar to you. But first off, we have to deal with walking into Spiky Room of Doom. And of course, De Loco would build a Spiky Room of Doom. Oh, some weird texture stuff there again. That's a shame. Spiky Room. No! He's very petty. I keep on saying it, but he says he'll have revenge just because of something so simple as, you know, whatever. Vi's, just caught between two doofuses, really. Long time no see, Vise. It is I, Alfonso. He probably sounds just like, whatever the dude is from Code Veronica. In my mind, that's who I think of, just a pompous, arrogant aristocrat. And of course, Alfonso, not really a creative fellow, brings us Antonio 2. Literally just calls it Antonio 2. The crazy doofus. Just, for some reason that makes me chuckle on the inside. That he doesn't even really try that hard. He's just like, I lost a beast, I guess I'll get another one because I'm rich, or whatever. So we are going to use our fun magics to buff. Oh, I thought I had enough to use Increm twice, which would be nice, but nope. For now, Drachma using the wonderfully useful Spirit Charge to give us the advantages that we will need later on. We buff Vise, we buff Drachma, we just build up our spirit points and attack. It's not that bad. Boss fights in this game are approachable. All you have to do is just think carefully and you're going to generally be okay. This is going to hit pretty hard though, which is unfortunate, but we have items that can work around that. While I continue to attack normally, I will have her use Sacres on herself. Fina does not... No, so we don't want that then. Sacri Crystal then. And I forgot I had the Glyph of Mites, which are like the same thing as using Increm. So she'll heal. We will get our regeneration. And Drachma... I meant to hit the special one, but I hit normal focus. Oh my gosh. I'm a silly, silly idiot. It's not like this is a hard boss fight, but it's just like... Come on. I should know better.
Let's try this.
But it's reflex. It's like, I want to focus, I just head down to the end and focus. It's completely reflexive. Critical hit. Oh no. What a jerk. See? That's such a waste. It's such a waste. The regen isn't, though. That's great. And now we can just put on the pressure, right? So it's like... We can Increm Drachma. Here we can focus. Although, actually, I'll have her heal Ica a little bit. And here we will properly use Spirit Charge, because the idea is that we'll have Increm on Vise and Drachma, and we'll just use Tackle and Cutlass Fury, really. The other characters sort of running support.
Let's try this.
I like this, though. This is not a bad run through this dungeon, besides the fact I missed the goddamn Moonberry! But we'll take care of that on our own time, I guess. So that's not bad. Decent amount of damage. Counterattack. Come on. Ah. But it's like... The regen's so nice. We'll actually attack normal. Have these two focus and Drachma attack this time, just to see the differences in damage. And we're hopefully building up to a turn where we can just straight up use both of them and beat the crap out of this thing. Though it's not like we're going to have that much difficulty anyway. Thunder of Fury hitting Fina might be a problem? Okay, not the worst problem in the world, but still hits pretty hard. Drachma uses Tackle, I skip the animation. Yeah, over 1,000 damage. We want to use that more often than we want to use Cutlass Fury. Although if there are rounds where we can use both, we will. But in general, it won't be building towards that. So Sacres won't even give us enough, so we'll just use another Sacri Crystal. Fina will defend to be safe, and we will use Tackle.
Let's try this.
Not hard tactical decisions to make, but still ones that feel impactful and useful depending on what's happening at any given moment. This might hit both Drachma and Ica, which would suck. Yeah, it did. So, Ica is okay. Drachma's okay too. And we'll show the animation here, even though, again, those artifacts. But I mean, come on, he's rushing somebody with a drill arm. It's pretty cool. Counterattack. Alright. So this is gonna seem silly, but let's try this. Let's see what happens. Let's just build up our spirit gauge as much as we can and just unload in the next round and see if we can't take him down. We need 17 total, which will hit. Certainly, so we have it there already. Next round, we're just going to beat the crap out of this stupid monster. It's like, don't worry, we're good. And we both still have Increm, so this is incremable. Ha 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 ha. And just let everybody get in on the action, too. Maybe we'll get a Cupel Sword in there. Oh, how cool would it be if Cupel Sword finishes it off? I don't think it will. I think Tackle will. But still, you know. But if Cupel Sword fires off before Tackle, Cupel Sword might have it here. I don't know. Oh, will they do it? Oh my gosh! Oh wow! That's so crazy. Oh, way to go, Cupel. Yeah! That was awesome. Wow, that was like its own little miniature story. That was really fun. And everybody levels up. Fantastic. And we get a Moonberry, but not also... I want the other Moonberry. So off screen I will do that. And Alfonso the idiot. His giant beast is going to fall on him. He survives, but whatever. But, De Loco doesn't care. He's like, I guess I'm just going to beat the crap out of everybody with my giant spiky broom. But remember, we have another inventor on our side. The wonderful Centime seems to have tampered with all of the machines in the mines. Look at De Loco when he gets angry. Cartoon villain. Just somebody with poor anger management. And you can talk to Alfonso. Ugh. Why do these things always happen to me? Because you're a jerk, Alfonso. Nobody likes you. I want the Moonberry. I want it so bad.
Hello.
Oh, he has a little voice clip there. I never knew. Centime. Wearing a sort of pince-nez type of thing. Very nice. So that is Moonstone Mountain. I will end it here, and we will start back at the ship, and we will head to the king's place and hopefully head to the next dungeon. This is, like I said, we spend a lot of time in Ixa'Taka. So that will be it. Thank you very much for watching. Now, if you don't mind, I'm gonna go find that moonberry. I love you all.